Hey guys, how are you? I got a new background. You recognize the football game, TD-ECU Stadium? Go Cougs. How's the weather at y'all's place where you're at?
It's raining in my area.
Yeah, it's getting pretty bad in a couple of places. Not too bad. I'm up here at U of H again. I was trying to figure, I worked till about 10 o'clock last night, trying to figure out a way to get you guys access. And I started going down the path, and this is what's going to work. I should be able to, I've got enough licenses to do up to 50 VPN connections at one time on the firewall, or the device that connects the EI lab to the outside world. So that means as long as there's not more than 50 people all at one time trying to access the EI lab, which is for my number of classes that I'm teaching right now, that would be basically almost every student. So that should work okay. What I'm trying to figure out right now is how to make it so that I don't have to enter individual usernames and passwords on the firewall. I want to try to figure out how to make the firewall authenticate off of the Windows server, which is, it's doable. It's just, it's complicated. I haven't done it before on this particular brand of firewall. So that's where I'm at right now with you guys. Now, in the meantime, though, to get you started, I think probably the best thing to do, if you're able to do this, and I put this in the notes, is go ahead and install VirtualBox, and then install a minimal version, not that DVD version. I want you to start out with a minimal version of CentOS. Okay. So that was and I just put this announcement out. Oh, wait a minute. I can't see what I'm doing. Oh, I turned my monitor off. Hang on. These push buttons are picky. Input source. Hope there's nothing important on the screen. Oh, okay, all right. So you can see a PowerPoint from 4377. Let me get rid of that. You don't need to see that. I'll leave that window up so I can type in some notes. And I'm going to do a walkthrough, make it easy for you guys. Now, some of you may have already done this, but for the benefit of those of you that did not, or for those of you that can't, because you don't own your own laptop or your device, or it's a very old laptop that doesn't have enough juice to install VirtualBox, this will be beneficial for you. Regardless of where you go to work, if you're working with a multi-user, a virtual environment, it's good to know how to do this because it lets you do some development at home and in a standalone situation where maybe you don't have internet connection or you're not allowed to experiment online. So give me a second here. I was looking at some different pictures of stuff here. We were looking at some of the original computer systems that U of H had here. Like that was one of our original computers there, IBM ES9000. I used to write COBOL code on that computer. The reason I keep reaching over is I'm drinking a drink. I keep my drinks far away from my computers. Recommend that you do the same. So MIS 4397, 20 of summer. So just want to point out that I did put up the 2 links, and I made them public, so you could have found them if you Googled for them or searched for them on YouTube. But I'll make sure to give you guys the specific links so that you can always find my videos from the previous classes. Okay, so shouldn't be too difficult to find those. Let me pull out my chat window real quick. I'm assuming everybody can hear me and everybody sees my screen. Hopefully that's true. Where'd my chat window go? Can't find it. There it is. Drag it over there because you guys don't need to see that. Okay, so let's do a little walkthrough of installing VirtualBox. I'm going to install VirtualBox from scratch on this laptop, but before I do that, I'm going to begin a download of CentOS. That's what I want you to install, a distribution of CentOS. So I'm going to go to CentOS.org. Excuse me, CentOS.org. Delete, jump off of it. And I don't want to click there because I want I want a different version. Okay, so what you're going to want to do, if I click on, let's see what this does. Okay, so I click there. It takes me to CentOS Linux DVD ISO, CentOS Stream DVD IO. ISOs are also available via BitTorrent. I recommend staying away from BitTorrent because there's many times viruses or spyware or malware buried in some of the distributions. So you'll notice, by the way, check that out, need a cloud or container image. You can actually download a pre-built version of CentOS in the version of a container already so that you can run it on Amazon Web Services or in a container called Docker, a container OS called Docker, which is very similar to the LXC containers that we will be running. Now that's cheating. I don't want you to do that only because that's easy. You can download that. It's already pre-built for you, pre-set up, and you don't have to go through any of the installation, and you're not going to learn much from that. But a lot of people do this if they come up, like if you're the next Mark Zuckerberg and you come up with some great idea, and you don't have computers or servers at home, you go download one of these and you get a little Amazon Web Services account. You start looking like the big guys while you're on Amazon. You register a domain name, facecrook.com or whatever the next thing happens to be. TikTok, tickety-tockety tick. So let's click on more download choices, okay? More download choices, that's where we're going. Let me describe to you, because this is true for Debian and Ubuntu and most of the other distributions. Let me describe the differences. I'm going to skip Stream because I don't know anything about Stream yet, but you see here are the different versions. Here's version 8. Now it goes all the way down to version 6, and like I was showing you yesterday, you can even still install version 5, 4, and 3, and 2, but those aren't supported anymore. And it's probably a bad idea to install those because there probably are some security vulnerabilities in there. So let's just go ahead and download and use version 8. There is the complete DVD. There's a net install version. There's different versions. Let's just click on mirrors here. And let's just grab one of these. Let's see if I can find TAM. See if I can find the Texas mirrors. The following mirrors in your region. Now the reason these are popping up, like I said in the last class, is because my system believes these are the ones that are physically closest to me. I'll just go ahead and click this first one. I'm not going to bother searching for others. Okay, so now we have a boot version, a DVD version. We should see, I should see a minimal version. Actually, they may not be doing that anymore. Let me go back to, let me go to CentOS 7. They may have changed that. So I'm going to go into the CentOS 7 folder here. Trying to force me away from CentOS 7. Okay, here we go. So in CentOS 7, they obviously have changed some things in CentOS 8, but this is how CentOS used to be set up, and this might still be the case for Ubuntu and Debian. There's a DVD version. Then there's an everything version. Then there's a live GNOME version. Now, a live version, by the way, let me describe what that is. Let's say that you wanted to experiment with and try out Linux, but you don't want to blow away the operating system, which is on a computer. You can download that live ISO, burn it onto a USB stick, and run it all on that USB stick, and it doesn't install onto the hard drive. It only uses that USB thumb drive. That's what's a live version. That's what a live version does. The advantages to that, again, are you don't have to blow away whatever OS is on your computer. I don't want you to install a live version. Normally, you would want to install a DVD or an everything version. A net install version, as I mentioned, is a little more complex because it's a smaller version of the everything version. Then you have to have an internet connection and answer a few more questions for it to go get the distribution. I want you to install a minimal version. Now, the reason that I probably don't see when we were at the version 8 is I bet you what they did was they made the installation such that when you downloaded it, it asks you, do you want to install a minimal version? So let's take a look at that. I'm looking for a small one. I've got boot ISO there, and DVD ISO. That one's not very big. Let's download that. Let's start the download for that and see what it is, okay? There's only two possibilities. Boot ISO. Let's click on that manifest. What that manifest is supposed to tell us is a list of everything that's in there. I just heard some heavy lightning, by the way. Did you guys hear that? I'm not sure if I can open that file or not. The manifest is supposed to be a list of everything in that distribution. Yada, yada, yada. I tell you what, it's small enough. Let's just download. Let's begin the download for it. While it's downloading, I'm going to go ahead and download and install, since that's going to take a few minutes. VirtualBox. It's at virtualbox.org. Download VirtualBox 6.1. This is going to be an actual application, not an ISO, and you download it based on your OS. Now, I don't see a window. I don't see is OS X, is that Mac OS? That's Mac OS, right? Probably. Click on it, see what it does. I'm pretty sure that's the Mac version, OS X. That sounds like it. I'm going to download the Windows version, obviously, because I'm using a Windows laptop here. It's a much smaller program. That'll be done long before that boot ISO is built. And then I'm going to go do a little bit of pre-search here to determine what I need for that CentOS 8 in terms of hardware. So I'm going to type in CentOS 8 minimal requirements. Minimum for CentOS 8, I need 2 gigs of RAM, 20 gigs of a hard drive space in a 64-bit system. Okay, well, that's pretty simple. That doesn't sound like much. That's really what I was getting at. How much memory do I need to allocate to that virtual machine? Hopefully you've got a laptop with at least 2 gigs of RAM in it. See how we're doing on that download. No, that says 7 minutes left. Are we done with the other one? Yeah, it looks like it's about to start. My little spinning window, my little spinning circle is going. You can do this. I recommend that you do this while I'm doing it if you've got a second computer. If not, you can just follow along. You downloaded the version 7 minimal and the version 8 boot. Which one do you prefer us use? Either one. Sarah, I'm going to download and install this 8 boot just to see what it is, because I haven't played much with CentOS 8, to tell you the truth. It's fairly new. I don't always use, and you'll find that in the networking world and in the business world. Oh, that's kind of weird. My background got reversed. Somehow it's on my shirt and not the back. Oh, whatever. I got a cool new shirt on. So I'm going to see what that is. So let's just see what it is together. Welcome to VirtualBox. You guys all see this, right? So let's click next. It's asking me what do I want to install and what do I want to install. I think I could just take the defaults on this, so that's what I want to do. Create start menu, create a shortcut, register file associations. Yep, that all looks good to me. And I'll warn you, I haven't installed VirtualBox in a long time, so there might be a couple of new questions I'm not familiar with, but that's okay. We'll learn this together. Ready to install. Now, why is this free? Why do you think they give VirtualBox away? Why does Oracle give it away for free? Because they're trying to get a subscription out of you. Also, they're trying to get you to upgrade to their big brother. The Oracle has their own hypervisor, which runs on servers. They want you to design stuff on a workstation or get used to using a virtual environment, so that when you realize, hey, this actually has value for my company, let's create a real server virtual environment and upload these virtual machines I've created. If I stand up, what is it? Oh, that's weird, isn't it? Can you guys see me? I wonder if you can do, you know what would be cool in Zoom is if you could do dynamic backgrounds, like it was video moving backgrounds in the back, and that might be the case already. I don't know. Looks like it might be taking a little while to install. All right, let me make sure there's no other. Sometimes there's some questions in the background that it's asking. I'm going to put that aside. I don't see any questions in the background, but there might be. Oh, my laptop here is also in the middle of converting my previous Zoom session, so it's probably slowing things down significantly. I'm going to do something else while that's doing that. Hope that that comes back. Aha, it's finally come up. That sure took a long time to ask me permission to download and install. Let me know if it does that to you guys too. I'm curious as to why it's doing that. This is a relatively fast laptop I'm using here, Intel i7, but it's about 4 years old. I should check probably to see how much memory I have. By the way, if you have a Windows machine, here's a good way to tell, quickly tell everything about your machine. Type in system information. Run that application right there. A lot of people don't know about this system information app. System information tells me everything I need to know about my computer. The version, the specific build, how much memory I've got, So I've got 8 gigs of RAM installed and then another 8 gigs of swap space. So I'm good on memory, and I've got lots of hard drive space, components, storage, disks. Got plenty of hard drive space, so I'm good. So system information, a neat little program. A lot of people don't know that it exists. This is asking me to do something else here. Install, looks like it's asking to install a helper program. I'm just going to take the defaults for everything. You got the same question about would you would like to install this device about Oracle? Did it take a long time though when you were doing it, Rahul? Again, my computer's probably going slow because I'm doing that in the background. For those of you that don't know, converting, transcoding video is a very processor intensive thing. This is why people that do video processing, like that make movies, like the people that did Toy Story, their computers were taking hours and hours just to render 3 or 4 minutes of video at very high resolution. As a matter of fact, there's an interesting story you should go Google sometime about Toy Story, the original Toy Story movie. They were using the Linux operating system, okay? And one of the users, there was about 50 people on the team, one of the users that had admin rights accidentally did that RM minus RF thing, or the equivalent of that. And they say one of the managers is on one of the servers, and he saw files just starting to disappear. Woody disappeared, and then the Slinky Dog disappeared. He's like, holy shit, we're losing. And they didn't have backups. They'd made about 80 minutes of the movie already, and they did not have backups of the original Toy Story. And it started deleting all of the files. They managed to stop it before it deleted any of the system files. Then they were able to go through some system restore processes, which luckily they were able to do in Linux, and undelete files. A lot of you probably don't realize this. You can undelete as long as you don't do anything new. On a system, you have a very good chance of, and I'm not talking about going to the recycle bin. I'm talking about undeleting files because the data is still there on a hard drive. What happens when you delete a file is it simply removes the pointer to the location on the hard drive where that data lives. If you can find that data on the hard drive, rebuild a pointer, you can undelete files. So luckily they were able to undelete and recovered about 85% of the movie. But it's an interesting little story which involves Linux and involves the reason why you don't log in as an administrator under regular course of business when you're working on a system and a platform that 50 other people are working on, and you're working on something that is worth well, what did Toy Story end up being worth $1 billion? You guys have all seen Toy Story, I'm assuming. Cute little movie. Okay, so where we're at, we're finished. Let's click finish. Let's check and see how our download was going on that ISO file. Put this in date order. Oh, I have got to clean out this. I've got to clean out this thing. So there's looks like it's done. Boot ISO. If it wasn't done, I would not be seeing it. Boot ISO. VirtualBox is running now. It says, welcome to VirtualBox. Let's see if I can remember. It's been a long time, like I said. So let me see if I can remember what we're supposed to do. Welcome to VirtualBox. The left part for the application window contains the global tools. Import, export, new, add. Let's click on new. I'm going to skip a few steps. Let's click on new. Name, let's call it Jake. Jake Santos. Machine folder, that is where you want to store the image that you're creating. I'm just going to go with the default. The type, I can make it Windows or Linux or any of these others. This is really similar to Proxmox and really similar to VMware. I'm going to choose Linux. Version, I can choose a subversion of Linux. I know I'm installing CentOS. Let's see if CentOS is in the list. It's not in the list. Oh, and it's telling me I can only install a 32-bit version. I wonder if that's because this is only a 32-bit computer. Let me check system information real quick. That's okay if it is. Or VirtualBox may only be able to run a 32-bit version. Anybody see 64-bit somewhere on the screen? Here's another thing that you can do. You can type in this PC, and you can right-click that. Is that what I want to do? Yeah, you right-click that, and that gives us information, more basic information. This is a 64-bit, so VirtualBox may only be able to do a 32-bit. This is not that critical, to tell you the truth. So I'm just going to go ahead and leave it on Red Hat. All that does is pre-answer some of the questions for you. Type of memory recommended, it's starting at 1024. I'm going to bump that up to 2 gigs, which by the way is 2048, not 2000, 2048. Hard disk, let's create a virtual disk for now. Oh, that was the, excuse me, that was the Zoom meeting from the last class. Create. What kind of virtual disk do you want to create? Please choose the type. Now, if I create a VirtualBox disk image, it's not portable. If I create a VHD, that's actually portable to VMware or even Proxmox, but I can always change it later. So I'm just going to go with the defaults. Dynamically allocated a fixed size. I'm going to go ahead and make it a fixed size, okay? The dynamically allocated will only allocate space as you use it up. It's faster to pre-allocate a certain amount of memory. So as long as you've got enough hard drive space, check your drive space. It suggests 8 gigs. I'm going to bump that up a little bit more. It's a little bit too small. Possibly too small. I'm not exactly sure how much space I need, but I'm going to just arbitrarily choose 20. Proxmox suggested 32. I'm creating a virtual hard drive image. It's just basically a big file. It's creating a 20 gig file that nothing else on my system can read except for whatever virtual machine I'm building here. VirtualBox is the only thing that can use it. It says it's going to take 4 minutes. While that's occurring, I downloaded CentOS 8 boot. I'm not sure exactly what that is, so just in case, that's not anything that I can use. Excuse me. I'm going to go ahead and download the CentOS 7 Minimal, which I may already have on this laptop, but I don't remember. Six minutes, it got longer, 6 minutes remaining. Maybe I should have just said dynamic file size. It shouldn't take that long, but it's probably because I'm doing stuff. For purposes of editing the video, I'll edit out these 6 minutes. You guys who are live with me, you're just going to have to suffer it. Now it's 7 minutes. It's even longer. It's supposed to be shorter, not longer, guys. One gig. Hard to believe that minimal is 1 gig, but gee whiz. Get that going. Minimize that, and it might be, it's probably my system's going slower too, of course, because I'm doing a Zoom meeting at the same time, passing video back and forth, so we're really slowing them down. So you were able to do 64? Probably, it doesn't really matter. You know, the only difference between a 32 and a 64-bit computer is the amount of RAM that you can access and the amount of the hard drive space you can access. You can't access anything larger than it's either a 2 or a 4 terabyte drive with a 32-bit system, and 32-bit systems can only have 4 gigs of RAM. Other than that, there's not that much difference. For purposes of learning Linux, you can install a 32-bit version. I'm very tempted to cancel that current operation. What do you guys want to do? You want to wait for it? This is going to take too long. I'm going to cancel that. I'm going to do dynamic. Just in the interest of time, okay? That was easier. Okay, so what do we got here? Too big, don't want it that big. This is what the dashboard of VirtualBox looks like. I've got one virtual machine here. It's off. I have not yet associated a DVD drive with it. All I've created is a system with 2 gigs of RAM, basic video display, IDE storage. I may want to change that storage type to something else. To make it compatible, I might want to leave it at IDE. There's VirtIO SCSI, like in Proxmox. Let's go ahead and choose that. What the heck, why not? Gonna name it something else. Ka-chow. Why is it not liking it? What did I do wrong? Hang on, let me back up. I got to learn this output, learn this desktop real quick. Oh, I see. It did already add me. It added an optical drive. I just need to point it to a file. This is the drive, the 20 gig drive down here. I clicked on the wrong thing. So if I click on this, I should be able to choose a disk file. I'm going to go look at my downloads folder and choose that CentOS 8 boot disk that I downloaded already. So that's what I'm going to boot off of. Let me see how my download is going. My download's still going of that other CentOS 7 minimal, so we'll just let that keep going. At this point, I should be able to turn that machine on. There's a preview of it. So I'm going to click start. Actually, I'm going to see if I can get a console to it first. No, I don't see how to do a console. So I just click start. It should pull up a console screen for me during the start, which is a little bit different from Proxmox. In Proxmox, you can press start, but it doesn't automatically bring up a console screen. And I got an error. Try it one more time. Failed to open a session for the virtual machine. Look at the details here. The native API was not found. Okay, so it's saying I cannot run VirtualBox in this current mode on this laptop. Pretty sure I can get this working if I change a couple of things. I should have tried to do this without, I should have tried to have done it first, processor. I'm going to turn that off. I think that's what I need to do. Hardware virtualization, if this laptop is not designed for virtualization technology, I don't have hardware virtualization. It is not letting me change it. Hardware virtualization is enabled. Yeah, I'm trying to turn it off, dude. Oh, here, none. I'm trying to turn it off. I'm stuck now. How about you guys that were doing this? Are you stuck on yours? What do we do when we're stuck? We Google it out. No, I don't want to watch a video on it. Just want to get the text on it. Can't disable hardware acceleration. Your PC must support. Oh boy, I don't know if I can do that then on these computers. My PC has to support virtualization technology or AMD virtualization, or else you can't run a virtual machine. Well, I apologize. They've changed that. It doesn't require, no, it doesn't require virtual. I think that said version 6.0. Well, let's download it and try it instead. And if that doesn't work, then we'll do something else, but I want to try this. I'm surprised that it did not warn me. It should have warned me when I was installing this VirtualBox. Hey, you don't have virtualization technology enabled in this computer. So it should have warned me, but I guess it did not. I know I've run this VirtualBox before on very old computers, and although it was slow, it still worked. So Let's try 6.0, the older version. Pretty sure the version I have installed is the newer version. Let me just double check. It's 6.2, but let me go check. Control panel. Where's programs? There's VirtualBox here. Let me go ahead and uninstall that first, just in case. I don't want it to complain. How many of you have never installed or uninstalled software like this on a Windows machine? Probably would have been okay, but I find it's probably better, especially since I'm downgrading to an older version. It's probably not a good idea to install an older version on top of a newer version. So we'll get rid of the newer version first. Then we'll try this 6.0. Maybe that's why it took a long time to answer this question. Okay, so Rahul, you want to try the same thing then on your computer? Want to do the 6.0 version? Or you can even try the 5.0 version if you want. You can install older version. Proxmox actually goes all the way back. You can still download 2.0 Proxmox, even though we're up to 6.0. Okay, it's starting to run here, or is this the? Now that's interesting because it looks like that's the one I created before, isn't it? Let's see if it starts. Yeah, it actually started. Okay, so what did we learn already? We've got to install 6.0 if we've got an older computer that doesn't have virtual technology enabled. You have the auto capture keyboard option turned on. Who cares? 40 seconds. I'm going to go ahead and enter to preboot that. Now this is going to start up kind of like the other install, except it should be just a text-based version, minimal install. Or actually, this is a boot version, so I don't know what this CentOS 8 is. I've never run it before. And it's complaining, saying, this is only 32-bit. All right, forget about it. We're not going to run that one then. Power off the machine. Let's get rid of the machine. How do we discard? We remove the machine. Delete all the files. Get rid of it. Let's see if we're done downloading. I think we're finished downloading the CentOS 7. Let's try that one out. And let's see if there was I don't know if there's a 386 version of CentOS or not. Or 32-bit version of it. Oh, there is. There's a 32-bit version. Let's download just in case, let's download a 32-bit version. I know that will work. I386, okay? That install. It's also quite a bit smaller. So let's get that one downloaded. Let's try that one instead. I wish my network link were a little bit faster, but again, I'm on this laptop and I'm throttled down in the lab here. While that's doing that, actually, it's only going to take a minute. It's going quite a bit faster now. I was going to go show you what the VMware desktop looks like by showing you what the VMware here that we run in the lab looks like. This will be done in just a minute. Let's assume it's going to be done. CentOS 7, Jake 32. Yeah, there were no options for 64-bit, so yeah, there's just 32-bit. Just taking the defaults here, except I'm changing that to 20 gigs. Attach. Let's hope that one's done now. Not quite done. It's almost done. 14, 13, 12, 11. Just a few more seconds left. 4, 3, 2, 1. It should appear in my list here. There it is. No, that's the 64-bit. Where's the 32-bit version? There it is. Open. Start. Normal start. That's the boot up screen. And hit enter. Let's see if we've got some good news here. That looks promising, more promising than the other. So that's looking pretty normal to me so far. I'm getting a bunch of OKs. Okay, where did I get the 32-bit version? Did you see me back up? I backed up and I went and I looked for, I'll show you where I got the 32-bit version. It was called I386, by the way. And I got it by going here, except see they have an I386 and an X8664. So I got the CentOS 7. I went ahead and went to the mirror and got it from there directly, but I looked down this list and I looked for the word 386. Let's see, where was it? Nope, that's not where I got it from. I know I got it from somewhere. Where did I find it? Pretty sure I didn't get it from there. That's an older, that's CentOS 6. I must have got it from there. The point is and you can also Google for it. You can Google Symptos 7 I386 download ISO. There you go. That's how I got it. Okay. And then I just grabbed any of these. I clicked the top one, and I got that minimal install right there. That's how I found it. Okay, so let's see how we're doing. Okay, we got 2 mice. So this is doing kind of the same thing that Proxmox is doing right now. It's going kind of slow because, you know, again, my laptop's not designed to run guest OSs like this, but it's good enough, especially if this is just going to be a text-based version. It'll be good enough. English, continue. Oh, you know what? It doesn't support a mouse, so I'm going to have to use the tab key or hit the word continue. Okay, there we go. So what this version is doing is what VirtualBox is doing is basically the mouse has been captured and you have to press an Alt button to get out of the capture mode. Let's see, I forgot how to do it. How do you Google? How do you get out of somebody go Google that for me. I didn't read it close enough, but how do I get the mouse out of capture mode?
You press the right control button on your keyboard.
Right control button, is that what it said?
Yeah, so it's in the bottom, like right-hand corner of your VirtualBox. It says right control, yeah.
Here it is, thank you, appreciate that. So how do I get the mouse recaptured? There we go, I just click anywhere on it. Oh, right control, thank you for reading. I oftentimes skip stuff. Installation source, error setting up the base repository. That's because this is a minimal and I have to select this, the repository. This is going to be harder than I thought. This is more work than I wanted it to be. It's operating as if it's a net install. That's the problem I'm getting right now. Oh, network. That's why, because I don't have the networking set up yet. It'll find it as soon as I attach it to the network. Should be DHCP. Okay, good. So I got an IP address, so my networking's on. Now it should find the repository automatically. Where'd that i386 version go? It shouldn't not be doing this because I downloaded a minimal. It should be getting it off the DVD. I'm surprised it's not getting it off the DVD. It's all right. We'll do it like this. How do I copy and paste on this? Nah. I don't want to type all that in again. I think I'm going to stop at this point. I'm getting bogged down on this and it's annoying. So I'll tell you what, I'll figure this part out. And but what I want to do is I'm going to reboot my computer and see if it has virtualization technology in the BIOS to enable. I just couldn't do it while we're doing this video. So I'll answer that question. So let me go. I'm going to go ahead and stop the class because I do want us to do this, but I need to make sure it's actually doable. So let me write specific instructions and give specific links to it before just trying to do it. I thought I could get away with doing it in class dynamically, but I haven't done it in such a long time with VirtualBox. Obviously, they've changed some things. So let me finish that because I do want you to do this in addition to then building virtual machines on Proxmox. Okay, so for those of you that are kind of stuck where I'm stuck, you can try to figure it out on your own too, but I'll definitely figure it out. If anybody's got a 64-bit version, like Rachel, you said that yours is installing okay or not?
So far it's installing okay. I'm just waiting
So
for
why don't you go ahead and continue with your version? So if you have a true 64-bit ET computer, you must have a newer computer then. You can continue installing. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the class now. And any other questions for right now with respect to where you should be at this point? Because you're kind of waiting on me at this point. You're waiting on me to set up the VPN, and I'll send out an email to everybody with the VPN information and how to get into the EI lab. And so that way you can get on the Proxmox machines in case you don't have a machine that you can do the VirtualBox stuff. But for those of you that can run VirtualBox, I do want you to try this. All right, so I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'll post this video to YouTube a little bit later. Bye-bye. Has it asked me to log in? Oh, you guys are asking each other. Do you want me to keep this going so you guys can continue to communicate with each other? I'll do that. I'll just leave this going. And you guys can continue to communicate with each other for a few minutes if you want, while I try to fix this on my own. Yeah, back up, dude. It should have let me choose the DVD or the ISO that I installed. Oh, I think I did choose net install, not minimal. I did. I chose net install. That's why it's doing that. So I do have to do a net install. Unless I download the minimal. Well, I guess I'll go ahead and do a net install. Let's see if I can figure out how to do a copy and paste so that I don't have to type all this crap in. Okay, so I'll copy that URL. Well, I guess I'll just manually type it all in. Ah, let's see if that works. Error. Just get me the minimal version, like I said. Should have worked. That equals that. Let's see here. GenesisAdaptive.com CentOS dash alt arch. Arch says 7.8.2003 ISO's i386. Killed the machine. For those of you that are still here, killed the machine. I'm going to change the DVD or the ISO image to the right thing, not net install, because I can't figure out how to do a 386 net install. Pointing it to a repository and it's ignoring it. There we go. That's what I want. Now that will work. What do you think? You think it'll work now, guys? For those of you that are still here? Oh, bidirectional shared clipboard. I got to do that under settings. General advanced. Okay, I got it. Okay, almost there. Are you guys there far along, Cargan and Zachary, or no? I'm going to abort that check. No need to check anything. Brand new machine, brand new virtual machine. No reason to check anything. This should be a text-based installer, not GUI. Oh no, looks like it's going to start a graphical interface. It says there if it doesn't start, try again. Yep, that looks like a GUI. Got a mouse. Boing, 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 boing. I'm all by myself now. I'll go ahead and stop the recording and I'll edit this. No, I think I'll continue actually, just so you guys can see that I've done this. If you want to watch to the end, you can watch it on YouTube and fast forward, obviously. Local media, good. Minimal install, good. Networking, let's go ahead and turn that on. It should automatically be set up for DHCP. Done. Installation destination, we want to install it on that 20 gig disk. Done. Now we're ready to start the installation. Set a root password. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Simple password. I'm not going to set a user. I'm just going to set root password and see what that does. Not create any users. Just to see what the difference between that and creating a user looks like. Since it's not going to start up a GUI on a minimal install, I can log in as I should be able to log in from the console as the root user. Still installing. I'm checking some other stuff here while I'm doing that. Looks like it does have VT, so I'm going to reboot this machine. Enable it. Obviously, it's not enabled. So that's what I want to do. I'm going to go ahead and stop this video now. Okay, so had to end the class a little bit early. We were trying to install VirtualBox. Got bogged down because it's a newer VirtualBox. I wasn't aware that it would not let me install it on a non-64-bit machine or a non-VT enabled machine. I'll pick it up a little bit later. See you guys later tomorrow.